Now let's go to slide 19, which is about managing challenging behaviors. Now let's talk about the functions of behavior. Understanding why a learner behaves a certain way helps us choose the right strategies and interventions. In ABA, there are four main functions of behavior. Access or tangible, when a learner behaves a certain way to get something they want, like a toy or a snack. Avoidance or escape, when a learner tries to get out of something, like a difficult task or an activity they don't like. Attention or social, when the behavior happens to get someone's attention, whether positive or negative. And finally, automatic or sensory, when the behavior simply feels good to the learner, it's internally rewarding, like hand flapping or humming. By identifying which of these functions a behavior serves, we can respond in a way that supports the learner effectively, instead of reinforcing the challenging behavior. Now, let's go over how to manage challenging behaviors. First, always understand the function of the behavior before responding. Knowing why a behavior is happening helps us choose the most effective approach. We can manage behaviors in several ways. Number 1. Antecedents. Set up the environment to help prevent the behavior from happening in the first place. Number 2. Consequences. Reinforce positive behaviors and avoid reinforcing negative or challenging ones. Number 3. Modeling appropriate behavior. Learners, especially children, watch everything we do, so it's important to model the behaviors we want to see. Number 4. Extinction. This means withholding reinforcement for problem behaviors so they are not rewarded or strengthened. Number 5. Providing choices. Giving learners options helps increase their sense of control and independence, which often leads to fewer challenging behaviors. Throughout all of this, remember to stay calm and consistent. Our calmness helps the learner regulate theirs. And finally, always focus on reinforcing appropriate behaviors, not the challenging ones. Now, let's talk about staying calm during challenging behaviors. Remaining calm is one of the most important keys to managing challenging behaviors. When we stay calm, we help prevent the situation from escalating further, and we also model the type of behavior we want the learner to mirror. Staying calm means being mindful of our body language, our tone, our level of voice, and the words we use. Learners are very perceptive. They can sense tension, frustration, or calmness from us. When a learner is showing challenging behavior, it's best to speak softly. A softer voice helps the learner feel safe, not attacked, and reduces defensiveness. We should also avoid saying things that might cause shame or guilt. Instead, our goal should be to empower the learner and help them feel supported. And finally, talk less during challenging moments. Learners who are already overwhelmed may feel even more stressed when we talk too much. In these situations, less is more. Our calm presence often does more than our words can. Understanding and noticing a learner's warning signs. Managing behaviors also means being able to recognize when a learner is starting to become dysregulated. This is what we call an antecedent intervention, because we are identifying the early signs before the behavior fully occurs. It's important to learn each learner's unique warning signs. Pay close attention to their body language, their tone of voice, the volume or level of their voice, the words they use or don't use, and their overall activity level. For example, a learner who is becoming angry might clench their fists, their face might turn red, or they may start repeating the same word over and over. On the other hand, a learner who is becoming disengaged might move more slowly, take longer to complete a task, or speak more softly. When we understand these early warning signs, it helps us step in early and support the learner before the situation escalates. This makes us more effective at managing challenging behaviors. And most importantly, understanding your learner's warning signs allows you to be proactive, not reactive. When we model being proactive, we help learners develop their own self-regulation skills so they can manage their emotions before becoming dysregulated. Let's talk about using your body and choosing your battles. When managing challenging behaviors, it's important for practitioners to know how to appropriately use their bodies to keep everyone safe. Sometimes, challenging behaviors can happen suddenly, so we always need to be prepared. For example, if a child is trying to elope, you can use your body to safely block the exit, like standing in front of the door to prevent them from running out. If a learner is attempting to hit another person or even the practitioner, use your body to block the hit without reacting aggressively. When two learners are struggling to get along, position your body between them to help maintain a safe distance. This ensures both learners stay safe and calm. And if you ever feel that your own safety is at risk, remember, it's okay to step back. Protecting yourself is just as important. Lastly, keep in mind that your body language matters. Even during difficult moments, try to maintain a calm and composed posture. Learners pick up on your nonverbal cues, and your calm body language can help de-escalate the situation. Now, let's move on to the second part, choosing your battles wisely. When managing challenging behaviors, it's important to remember that not every situation needs to turn into a power struggle. As practitioners, we need to know when to step in and when to simply let things go. First, avoid unnecessary power struggles. These often make the situation worse and can damage the connection we're trying to build with the learner. Second, always prioritize safety over minor issues. If the behavior isn't unsafe, it might not be worth addressing in the moment. Third, let minor behaviors go if they help the learner regulate their emotions. For example, if a child is upset and starts coloring on a book, it's okay to let them do that for now. It's helping them calm down. Once they're regulated, that's the best time to teach them appropriate alternatives, like coloring on a blank sheet or a coloring book. And finally, focus on teaching appropriate behaviors after the learner is calm. They'll be more open to learning and less likely to resist. So remember, choosing your battles wisely helps keep sessions positive, builds trust, and supports long-term progress. Now, let's talk about controlling the environment. Controlling the environment is another positive antecedent intervention that helps reduce and manage challenging behaviors. One of the key aspects here is understanding your learner, because when we truly understand them, we can create an environment that supports both learning and safety. For example, if you have a learner who's sensitive to bright lights, you can dim the lights in the room. If they are sensitive to loud noises, try providing noise-canceling headphones or choose a quieter space to work in. Another example is when a learner has difficulty being in large groups. In that case, you can arrange smaller group activities or limit the time they spend in big group settings to help them stay regulated. Remember, controlling the environment doesn't mean we can control everything around us, but it does mean focusing on the factors we can adapt. By doing so, we make the setting safer, calmer, and more supportive for each learner. Now, let's talk about understanding the difference between assent and consent. These two terms are often used together in ABA, but they mean very different things, and both are equally important in supporting our learners and managing behaviors appropriately. Let's start with assent, shown here on the left. Assent is the client's vocal or non-vocal agreement to participate in a session or activity. This could look like a learner saying yes, following along willingly, or showing engagement through body language. Assent is important because it shows respect for the learner's autonomy, their right to choose and have a voice in their own learning experience. Now, on the right side, we have consent. Consent is the legal agreement given by the client or their parent or guardian before services begin. This is typically done through spoken or written authorization. In other words, consent allows us to provide services, but assent determines whether the learner is actively and willingly participating in them. It's important to remember that just because a parent gives consent, it doesn't automatically mean the learner gives assent. A learner might say no, walk away, turn their head, or stay silent, all of which may show they're not ready to participate. When that happens, we need to respect those cues and use them as opportunities to teach communication skills, like asking for a break or expressing, "I don't want to do that right now." By honoring both consent and assent, we not only follow ethical practices but also show the learner that their voice matters, and that builds trust, respect, and cooperation in every session. Let's go over some strategies for practitioners. When supporting learners, especially when it comes to assent and managing challenging behaviors, we want to focus on teaching functional communication. This means helping the learner express their needs appropriately, for example, by saying things like, I need a break or all done. Next, it's important to reinforce appropriate communication. When a learner uses their words or gestures instead of engaging in challenging behavior, we want to immediately acknowledge and praise that effort. This helps them learn that communication is effective. We can also offer choices to help learners feel in control and reduce frustration. For instance, you might say, would you like a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? Offering options helps promote independence while still maintaining structure. And finally, save the strongest reinforcers for when the learner completes the task. This helps motivate them to finish the activity and teaches that following through leads to positive outcomes. So remember, teach communication, reinforce positive expressions, offer choices, and save big rewards for completion. These strategies create a supportive and empowering learning environment for every learner. Picture schedules are an effective way to manage challenging behaviors, particularly for learners who find transitions difficult. These schedules visually show what's happening and what's coming next, helping learners feel more prepared and reducing anxiety. They're considered an antecedent intervention because they prevent challenging behaviors before they start. There are two main types of picture schedules. The first is the first then schedule, which helps learners transition smoothly by showing what comes first and what follows. For example, first is table time, then after is screen time. The second type is the to-do, all-done visual schedule, which serves the same purpose but looks different. It usually includes several pictures that help learners remember steps, complete tasks, and build independence. Questions.